breaking all my rules and going against what I normally do, but there's something about this shoe that just makes me do that, and some things in this shoe that I'm just like, you know what, even though I have this rule about trying to do videos 10 to 14 days before the drop date, this one's pretty important. I kind of have to break that rule, and we're less than a week before the drop date, so breaking my own rules, but there's plenty of good reasons for doing that, and we'll be taking you through that all on today's shoe when I give you all of the details in this one, and we look at that one feature on these guys that's just absolutely unique and ask a question. What is it? What is it? Can't even ask the question. What is it about these guys that reminds me of not one but two other stablemates in the Nike line? And it's surprising which two. So let's get into all that today as we take a close-up look at the upcoming release of the Nike Lebron 18 Low Fireberry. This is the Tokyo Butter 23 Sneaker Channel. Tokyo Butter 23 Sneaker Channel des.毎日アップするので毎日見てください. And every single day from Tokyo, Japan, I bring you content about upcoming sneaker releases, sneaker news, and sneaker reviews. And today we've got a beauty in the spotlight, an absolute master of a shoe, the Nike Lebron 18 Low. I have to keep stressing that low. Fireberry, because it's the first low of the season. Usually LeBron will drop his lows on the All-Star weekend for the first time, you know, so the 18s have kicked off probably back in maybe October, November, you first started seeing these guys surface, and then you wait a couple of months and then the lows start to come out, and it's been that way for the 17s, 16s and so on and so forth. But there ain't no all-star game this weekend, so this drop doesn't have to go in line with that. It's just dropping all on its own. No hype from you know, LeBron on the courts and stuff like that, but it's a fire shoe. There's a lot going on, lots of details, lots of departures from its high brother, and we'll be getting into all of that today and taking a close-up look at all of those details. So first things first, why am I here doing this shoe? Why do I think this is important? And it is that low aspect because of this right here. Doing, that is an Air Jordan 12 Low Super Bowl, and then we've got this right here. Ding, that is the Air Jordan 5 Low Chinese New Year, and of course there's Air Jordan 1 lows, and I think there was something else recently as well that was a surprising low, and then here we are with the LeBron 18 low. So there's a sort of thing with lows going on right now, and because it's a low, that's why I jumped all over this shoe, to give you that look at it, the first look at the lows from the 18 line. And there's sometimes, you know, sometimes they're hit and sometimes they're missed. I wasn't a huge fan of the 17 lows, got a lot of comments about that down below, not all of them positive, and then here we are with the 18 lows, and there are some things I like about it. It's not very close to its 18 high at all, but it's still a very smooth and very cool looking shoe, and I'll answer that other question I asked, which is which two stablemates do we think that this kind of lines up with, and then after that we'll get into those details on the shoe and we'll take you through it bit by bit so you know what we're talking about when the 18 lows come on February the 3rd for the big drop date. Like I said, I'm shooting this video on what's the date today? It's like the 27th or 28th, maybe the 28th, probably drop on the 29th, so we're like 4 or 5 days before drop date, which is super rare for me. And the two shoes, the two stablemates, the two Nike brothers that I'm thinking about that this looks very close to is Paul George and also Kevin Durant, and they are kind of, no offense, not being judgmental or anything, but they are kind of known for their lower price point. You're talking about $100, $120 rather than the bigger price points of some of the bigger beasts out there, the $200, $220, $240 price point, and that's what this reminds me of. This looks to me like a Kevin Durant or a Paul George, which is kind of surprising because usually when you get the lows that accompany the highs at the LeBron line, they don't really look like anything else. They look like a whole shoe on their own, but just the sleekness of it, the kind of the upper is very sort of simple and uniform again, which reminds me of Kevin Durant's and Paul George's, and that's to me that's the big kind of tie up to those guys, which is kind of surprising. So with that being said, and with the fact that it's a low, and that's the reason why I'm taking a look at it today, let's get into this Fireberry and look at all the details on it. Now a good place to look is right here. Ding, there's a high. It was the Los Angeles by night, I think is what we're looking at there, and that is a very good shoe to compare to this today because of the colors. They're very grapey in their colors, and it'll help us to look at the differences between the two shoes, especially because the colors are so the same. So if we go back to those LeBron Los Angeles by nights, you can see that upper, and hopefully zoomed in a little bit you get a sense of the knit on there, and then we come back to today's shoe, the Fireberry's lows, and zoomed in on the upper there, and you can see it is definitely not that knit that we would usually associate with a LeBron 18. What we've got going on here is a much more mesh material than what you would expect from a LeBron shoe, usually knit, like I said. So that's a big departure, number one. But then if we go back along a little little bit from there. Not too far away is the lacing system, and this is another big departure, and we'll be zoomed in on it on these Fireberries right here, and you can see it's very, very standard style of laces and standard style of eyelets on there, just threading through, as you know, how shoes have done for the last like 200, 300 years or whatever. And then if we take that over to those Los Angeles by Nights, you can see what a different lacing system they have on there. I call it the ghillie lacing system because of that little rope that comes up that the lace threads through. I don't know if that's the official name for it, but I think it makes sense. So back to today's shoe, and you can see that's a major difference. And then not too far from that, we go down to the back end of the shoe, and you can see that they have gone with the design style of the front 3/4 of the shoe being one color and one style, and then the back quarter of the shoe being another color, another style. But on these 18 lows, there isn't that big stark difference between the front end and the back end in material sense. Yes, in color, yes, in structure, but not so much in material. If you go over to those 18 highs again, you can see the front is all that fly wire knit. I think is it foam. This foam wire, posit wire, knit on the front end of the shoe, and then the back end of the shoe is that sort of solid rubber mold. And back to today's shoe, you can see that it doesn't really have that definition between the two. So even though it does have the two parts, it doesn't really have the two materials in the way that you do on the highs. And then down from that, my favorite thing on the highs, I'll go over to the highs first. I really like this little slash that appears in the midsole on the front half of the shoe, and then is mimicked or opposite or opposed on the back half of the shoe. So it's two sort of long rectangular sections on the shoe. And again, hopefully these Los Angeles by Nights are showing you, a different color on the front half to the back half. And that's all gone. That's totally gone on these 18 lows. You can see here it's a very uniform midsole outsole unit, but what it is a very transparent, translucent blue. Now, it's definitely not, in my opinion, an icy blue translucent outsole. It's just a standard blue. It doesn't have that icy feel about it. You know what I mean? It's just a translucent blue outsole and midsole unit, and you can see it really up close here. And so all that sort of definition that you appear on the side of the 18 highs and the lines and the different sort of sections front and back is gone. You've got a very uniform rubberized unit all the way around, and in the case of these guys, that's a translucent blue for the whole shoe, so it looks very nice. And then the final thing is the details on the shoe that are just unique to this one. So we'll go up to the tongues because I want to look at two different things on there. One, a difference from the 18 highs, and one that's unique to this one. So the difference is that the bubble units that you would see all the way up the tongue on an 18 high are totally gone on these guys. Hopefully I'm showing it on the back of the green screen right here, and you can see the bubbles on an 18 high, probably those little Los Angeles by Nights again. And then over to the 18 lows, these Fireberry 18 lows, and you'll see there's no air units running up the length of the tongue there. But then also if we pan out from that and look at the shoes as a whole, there's a really interesting X effect with that blue X that runs through this Fireberry kind of berry coloured upper, and I hope it's working out. I hope somehow I've explained that clearly enough that there appears to be a huge X right from the toe box all across the laces and into the sort of quarter and midfoot section, kind of towards the heel of the shoe. So it's a big looking X. Now I don't know if that's supposed to be an X or if it's meant to be something else, but it looks like an X to me. And if you know that has a purpose, a story, if there's something behind this X and it means something more than just a quick piece of design, definitely let us know in the comments down below, because I think it's very cool, and it is one of the features of the shoe that they'll be able to play with, contrasting the upper colors with the X and things like that. So I'm pretty sure that's everything we need to talk about in the shoe, all the details that are changed up and difference between the highs and the lows. Like I said, a big tie up to me, like a big nod. There's an echo of the Paul Georges or the Kevin Durant's, more so than any other lows. It's a departure from its high in a very, very big way, but it's still, I think it's got, I think people are going to be looking at the shoe and thinking, that's a shoe that I can actually rock. And I think it's got to come out in some colorways that you can rock them lifestyle a lot more than the 18 highs. The 18 highs are pretty much exclusive to sport, especially basketball, but the lows here might have a bit of crossover appeal to lifestyle, especially if they get the colorways right. So keep an eye out for a bunch of LeBron 18 low colorways coming down the line. This is the very first one, February the 3rd, what would have been All-Star weekend, as is the LeBron's sort of tactic to drop, early February with the lows every year. So we'll see where these guys go, and we'll see what colorways follow them. But for now, all I have to do is tell you there's a few things coming down the line. I'm trying to think what tomorrow's video is. I've already planned it, but I can't even remember what it is now, which is terrible. But I've already got tomorrow's video lined up to make. I'm going to go ahead and shoot this, I'll finish this video and go and edit it. So all I can do now is to tell you that I appreciate you guys checking out the content, trying to get No, I was going to say it's the LeBron 3 that's coming out soon, but no, I don't think it's that. So, but anyway, thanks for checking out the content. Do truly appreciate it. And I'll just tell you that I do this every single day, like every single day, and I have done for like 780 consecutive days, continuing to churn out the content. So that means that you are guaranteed to see me tomorrow.